Morning. Joined a cult. Whee! It's been good. It's been good. Sold all my stuff. Can I have some water?
My name is Marcus Welsh, and I use books, articles...
Just drink your water.
Sorry.
If you're interested in this, you've probably seen cult documentaries before, so I won't waste your time going over and over different cults. I mean, dear God, or whatever deity you idolise, we do not need another video like that on YouTube. I'm going to be talking more about the wider picture here. I believe that cults, or what we perceive as cults, is a psychology that permeates every fabric of our society. Are we just taking the word cult for granted? Are we just downplaying or glorifying a psychology that's actually incredibly dangerous? Or are we being too scared and cautious of something that's actually a natural human process? Oh, and thank you for being my followers. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.
So I came across this article that started me off down this whole cult rabbit hole. The Cult of Pythagoras. Pythagoras, 570 BCE to 495 BCE, is a man famous for an equation we all learn at little school, but he was so much more. He was a philosopher and a leader of people. The transmigration of the human soul was one of the core beliefs of the Pythagoreans. More specifically, the transmigration of the soul into animals. It's perhaps for this reason that Pythagoras would strictly forbid the consumption of meat, resulting in his followers becoming some of the earliest known vegetarians.
In fact, he had a lot of followers, and they would go around trying to indoctrinate other citizens to follow their lifestyle. But what is that lifestyle? So these are the rules that I have to follow as part of this Pythagorean cult. 1. To abstain from beans. 2. Not to pick up what has fallen. 3. Not to touch a white cock. I assume he means a bird. 4. Not to break bread. 5. Not to step over a crossbar. 6. Not to stir the fire with an iron. 7. Not to eat from a whole loaf. 8. Not to pluck a garland. I presume that's a sexual thing. 9. Not to sit on a quart measure. That's 32 ounces. Please do not sit on it. 10. Not to eat the heart. 11. Not to walk on highways. 12. Not to let swallows share one's roof.
Fuck off!
13. When the pot is taken off the fire, not to leave the mark of it in the ashes, but to stir them together. It's something I do often. 14. Not to look in the mirror beside a light. You all do that, and I know you do. And 15. When you rise from the bedclothes, roll them together and smooth out the impress of the body. I think that's an important one, and what a lot of self-help gurus these days would say is one of your morning routine steps for a brighter morning.
We can't be certain what Pythagoras' exact teachings and philosophy were. Tales of him and his followers are passed down by other philosophers and historians, but it seems that numbers, maths, mysticism and harmony are some of the cult's other core beliefs. You may have heard of the music of the spheres, a famous yet probably untrue tale from the Enchiridion harmonices by Syrian mathematician Nicomachus of Gerasa stated that Pythagoras discovered the principles of consonance and dissonance on comparing the tones sounded by these 4 hammers and investigating each hammer's relative weight. The sounds of the first and second hammers seem to be singing the same note, an octave, and when Pythagoras observed that their weights of 12 pounds and 6 pounds formed an exact ratio of 2 to 1, he sensed there was a pattern afoot. The principles of musical harmony were based on the mathematical foundations of the natural world. Harmony and dissonance played on the same set of strings, the instructions of which are in the universe. Harmony in the orbit of the spheres, the planets around the solar system. Dissonance on the surface, storms, wind, volcanic eruption, humans chewing their food too loud.
Sounds really nice, doesn't it? Glad I joined. I mean, don't we all have to follow a load of stupid rules anyway, every day? These things called laws. Why isn't that the same as following a cult? So those laws of Pythagoras, they're just guidelines that govern the life that these followers choose to follow. Most of us choose society. We choose a life, choose a job, choose a career, etc. You get the idea of that. What am I saying? And that means we have our own set of laws, both written and unwritten, we pretty much blindly follow day to day. I'm not calling for revolution here or overthrowing the monarchy, although a nice big palace, that would suit me nicely. Could it be that we think we're doing something right as a collective, as a society, but actually we're just following something we don't really need to follow? It's not in our best interests to. I'm talking more of our total acceptance of what we are told is right and wrong.
Let's go back 1K-ish years to Babylon in the reign of Hammurabi. Hammurabi's stele was discovered in Susa, Iran. At the top of the stele is an image in relief of Hammurabi with Shamash, the Babylonian sun god and the god of justice. Below the relief are about 4,130 lines in cuneiform text. The remaining 4/5, however, contain what is generally called Hammurabi's Code, the laws of Hammurabi. In the prologue, Hammurabi claims to have been granted his rule by the gods to prevent the strong from oppressing the weak. The laws are causistic, expressed as if-then conditional sentences. If you punch me in the face, then I punch you in the face back, for example. I don't think that's one. They also included criminal, family, property, and commercial law.
Hammurabi's Code is famous for the law of retribution. That's where we get the saying, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. The actual law meant that the punishment for the crime would be equal to the result of the crime itself. My favourite one, because it's the most gory and therefore the funniest, is if a son strikes his father, he gets his hands hewn off, and rightfully so. Whoa. 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 Fine.
The code was actually fair in some areas, however. It established the minimum wage, a need for contracts for certain transactions, and the application of fines for judges that make errors. Hammurabi's whole intention was to, in his own words, bring about the rule of righteousness about the land, and to destroy the evil and wicked doers. And isn't that kind of the reason we follow laws today?
Our whole system, our whole way of life is governed by laws, edicts, ultimates. At what point, when we're following these rules, does it become too far? Is it too much? At what point are we being exploited and coerced? At what point do you stop going through the motions and you say out loud, that bill or that new law going through Parliament, that's not right. That's designed to keep my voice down. That's designed to keep my potential power as far away as possible from your actual power. I know I will happily break small laws, whether it be in protest of laws themselves, or small little things we've all done, which I won't go into now. But even if you don't, I bet you don't obey laws as if they're a master. So I think we can conclude that our day-to-day laws, when applied to a fair and working order within a human ecosystem, is not cult-like. So a quick example, say in the UK where we drive on the left, one day they say you can drive any side you like. Now, most of us would probably stay on the left-hand side when we go out driving, but we all know somebody that would be straight out on the motorway on the right-hand side just because they can. And it wouldn't take too many people to grind that whole system to a complete halt, a complete standstill. Is he coming back?
Get back in the cage.
Yep.
Okay, shaking people's hands. It's my turn in a minute. Keep eye contact. Make sure I smile, make sure I look in his eyes but don't miss his hand. Okay, that's fine, dealt with that. Why am I here? What's this about? Oh, he's shaking her hand now. It's going on a bit long, a bit weird now. Okay, she's been here ages now. I want to go and look at these products. It's been COVID, so I don't get too close. I'll come back in a minute. But there's someone behind me now. Okay, that joke worked. And here's the little follow-up, which is even funnier. And then I said, yeah, I hope she likes beans on toast. And cheers. Do I look in her eyes when we cheers? I don't know, I find the whole cheersing thing a bit weird. Do I drink after? What's she looking at? Oh God, is there a fire? Okay, trying to dance on the beat. Just trying to count the beats. Feeling pretty robotic, more robotic than you. Is she looking at me like this? Feeling more robotic than usual. She's putting me right off there. What? Oh God, my legs. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just dance. Be natural. Be natural. Now go on. It's all right. Go on. Good. Should probably say thanks in a minute. Hello? Oh crap! I'm just trying to walk through this tunnel, and I don't think they've seen me though. Should I just carry on? No, I should probably turn back. Yeah, they'll see me if I carry on. I think I'll just watch.
All that social etiquette is exhausting, right? So let's look at cults another way. Maybe they can offer a path or an alternative out of that social anxiety. They offer a life where each interaction is carefully managed. You know your responsibilities. You know what you're doing each day. And you're with like-minded people, and those on the outside that oppose you, you have nothing to do with them. Really, it's so carefully managed sometimes that all these stresses I've been talking about just fade away. Okay, enough of this. Your wish is my command. Let's define the characteristics. What makes a cult a cult?
According to Rick Ross, not that one, a journalist who wrote an article in The Guardian, and this is a definition I like, a typical cult has a charismatic, unaccountable leader who persuades by coercion and exploits its members.
Back to Hammurabi quickly. Yes, we must all follow laws, but in the case of most kings, queens, etc. in history that haven't won a battle or a war, they have inherited their power. And this was a divine power, a divine right that would be unchallenged at the time. He coerced his people to follow these laws, remember, an eye for an eye. It can't be sure whether he exploited people or not, that's subjective to a point, but we are almost satisfying the requirements of a cult leader here. So what's the difference here? Well, that's charisma. He may have had the gift of the gab, but that's irrelevant. Like I say, this is a man chosen by the gods as far as his people, his subjects, believe. He would feel too far away for the average citizen, and that's the difference between him and a real cult leader. A real cult leader wants you to feel like they are obtainable. They give you enough of themselves to convince you what they're saying is correct, and it's something that you want to believe and follow. Oh, by the way, just quickly, I want to thank you for all the comments and likes and everything, all the support. I love responding to every single one of you. Your collective voice gives me power. Not a power over you as such, more a power to carry on making these videos. And hopefully I can give you back that power. One thing I know at this point is my voice seems to be a commodity. For me it sounds like a lamb trapped in a fence, but for some of you it's calming, relaxing, and even a cure for insomnia. Yeah, I think I'm doing an advert. I do voice stuff for you, requests, whatever you want. You'll see the different tiers in the Patreon, the links in the description box. And thank you very much for just letting me do this.
Okay, so just to reiterate, a charismatic, unaccountable leader whose subjects are coerced and or exploited by said leader. You heard of the story of the Church of the Lamb of God cult. Here is an abridged version of the BBC article with the daughter of their leader. Anna Le Baron's father, Ervil, was the leader of a polygamous cult responsible for more than 20 murders. The killings continued even after his death, thanks to a hit list he had left behind. Anna speaks for the first time about how she escaped from the cult. We were taught to live in awe of him as God's prophet and the one true prophet on earth. We were taught that we were celestial children, having been born from the prophet Ervil Le Baron, and we believed it. Anna says she can count on the fingers of one hand the number of times she was in the same room as her father. Yet the power he had over his followers, which included his 13 wives and more than 50 children, was absolute. He used fear to manipulate and control people, she says. We were absolutely afraid of not doing what we were told, and we didn't have a voice, shuttled from one overcrowded safe house to the next. She slept on 50 foam mattresses and scavenged for food in dustbins with the other cult children and Ervil's sister wives. The children were used as unpaid labour in the domestic appliance repair shops that were the cult's main source of income. Forced to scrub grease and grime from rusty ovens and refrigerators for 12 hours a day, I watched siblings of mine receive beatings for any type of attitude. They're kids. How much work can you really get out of a 10-year-old and 11-year-old? You can get work out of them if you're beating them.
Let's take a look at the Heaven's Gate cult. In summary, the leaders preached that suicide would allow them and their followers a path, a way out of their bodily containers. They would then enter a spacecraft that was hidden by Hale-Bopp, the comet, which sounds bizarre, sounds funny, but wait until you hear the story.
The two charismatic leaders, one of which eventually claimed to be the second coming of Jesus, started taking their religious and science fiction hybrid pamphlets and talks around the country. The leaders claim to have transcended to a higher evolutionary level, and so would their eventual followers who seek to achieve that state. Eventually, the group rented a house and took out alien abduction insurance, which would pay out $1 million per person if there was an alien abduction or alien pregnancy. It seems in this time they were preparing for the final exit. The group are now fully indoctrinated in the transcendent belief that upon death they would reach their higher selves and be the closure to heaven's gate.
In late March 1997, 39 members, including Applewhite, wearing black tracksuits and fresh sneakers, and we're talking fresh Nikes brought for this occasion, ate applesauce laced with barbiturates and drunk loads and loads of vodka. They then put bags over their heads, purple shrouds around their body, and left their earthly vehicles behind. It's not funny anymore, is it? Are you still laughing? That's the thing with this video, I'm having a bit of a laugh with it, and with all those cage shots, like I've joined occult stuff. But these things are real, and as you can see, these things can be deadly. So, how did they get people to believe in them, and how did they get people to follow?
Well, firstly, the people that followed came from religious groups, which is already a transcendent system in a way, but it should be said that most groups dismissed the pair immediately upon hearing their lectures. The small amount that did follow obviously needed something else in their lives. Maybe they were fans of science fiction, and if you watch the indoctrination tapes, it's actually quite an appealing, fanciful affair when you look at it from the fiction that it is. We all, or most of us, need something to be a part of. But I'll leave that there for now.
The third and fourth traits of a cult. The members are being given purpose and meaning. And 4, they oppose critical thinking. The conspiracy theory, an idea that's probably as old as time, or at least human time, has taken on a whole new meaning in the age of the internet. My Are We Living in a Simulation video was actually pretty much just a parody of these crazy internet conspiracy theories. I was trying to put a spotlight on how easy it is to make something that's a stupid idea sound plausible when you put loads of fact and science and research in a big circle around the bollocks in the middle.
Now I am for one not saying that for any minute you all believe the Ed Sheeran paradox was nothing more than a bit of fun. This way, it's this way. But my point was, in the age of the internet, anything can be real just by it existing, if enough people give credence to it. And the issue is, when there are conspiracies out there, and we know that there have been conspiracy theories that have come true, it really blurs reality. What actually could be real is on the same platform as, say, Prince Charles is a vampire, for example.
Actually, I believe that. I believe one of the pillars of human development is to question everything. Ask to read the paper, ask for proof. I want to see your workings. And we're never taught this. A quiet and obedient population is an easy population to control. And under the spell of the puppeteer's grasp you are. But because we have access to so many of these conspiracy theories, we can hear people's version of events from around the world, and so many of them as well. Who are we to question their take or their opinion? If there's that many people saying it, there has to be something to it, right? Oh, and as you know, it's nice to believe in something. Your importance and place in the world, a world that's crumbling around us, is so insignificant in terms of time and place that without meaning, meaninglessness becomes too overwhelming. And that's where we can help.
These modern day conspiracy cults are smart in that they do 2 things. 1, make it feel like the followers are solving the clues themselves. Not only are they going down the rabbit hole, but they are helping to dig it too, making it much easier for them to admire and believe in their work. It is a lot harder to take criticism about something you've worked on rather than just a belief about something you've heard. 2, using small, often untrue or exaggerated examples of where they have been right before. This makes it easier to believe the next load of bullshit, even when it smells worse, like a fucking dung snowball effect. This usually takes the form of a pretend just cause that the group won't actually care about, but they say they do as part of their belief system. Behavioural scientist Jan Wilhelm van Pereyen, alongside Karen Douglas and Clara del Incencio, found in a study that conspiracy theories reinforce a belief that nothing in the world happens through coincidence. This refusal to recognise the role of chance leads people to develop a worldview in which hostile and secret conspiracy theories permeate all layers of society. Then, once people start to become suspicious of the world around them, it's even easier to lead them to a certain view. My country is full of people scared of things they have no experience about. They're not actually scary, but they're scared of them because their newspaper or their friend told them to be scared. Not only are these people taking all the jobs, they're after your job specifically, and your house, and your taxes too. We have all seen a recent example of the cult of personality in a very large country over that way. Although it's more like the cult of absolutely no personality, and it absolutely boggles my mind, but there you go. It's a perfect example though. When I want to vote for a leader of my country, I vote for someone who I believe will do the best job. And at that point, there will be two options. One, they don't get in, and I use my power, right, and future vote to hold the current government accountable. Or two, they do get in, and I use my power and right again to hold the government I voted in accountable.
What I do not do in either case is drive around my car with a flag on it with their face, or clutching a manifesto, for example, and believing that they only do pure good, that their ideas and intentions are the only correct ones, not holding them accountable to those ideas. I will not ignore any evidence, facts that show that person or that government in a bad light.
It's just a lack of critical thinking. Have you ever heard a well thought out, plausible response as to how the supposed election fraud happened, or why someone isn't having the vaccine if they are healthy enough to do so? The political world as it is has stretched too far. We all seem to exist in pockets of belief just because of how charged and sportified the political climate has become.
Why can't I believe in a form of capitalism with a socialist underbelly? You know, those two big scary words for the people on either side. Capitalism. Socialism. I want to get rich, and I want people to get rich from my consumerism because I'm already in it. I'm talking to a camera I've purchased. I'm reading this off a laptop down there, a Mac. But I also want the people that made, packed and delivered everywhere in the chain to be on a fair living wage. Capitalism, socialism, the words have lost all meaning by spin. Whatever you believe in right now, it's not utopia, mate. We can pick holes in every system. And the reason we can pick these holes is because every system, by design of being human beings, has flaws in it. Nothing is perfect. But we can make that thing that works if we get together. But there's a problem. Once we've made that system that works enough for everyone, it's never perfect, certain people lose out. And that is the rich, that is the powerful. They do not want that, and you can smell how scared they are just in the headlines. You can smell it in the hatred that they try and make you feel for somebody else who's practically the same person as you. They look slightly different, they speak slightly different, but they want the same things. They want to look after their family. They want to be earning enough money to put dinner on the table, to eat, to have a roof over their heads. These are just the tiniest differences between people, nationalities, faiths, political belief systems. These are differences that are ironed out, that are discussed and appreciated and accepted just by sitting round a table together for 2 minutes. Maybe even less. Definitely less. You feel that human connection right away. You realise that person you're opposite, you realise they're just like you, really. They're real now. You can look into their eyes. And you can all do that with me. We can sit round the table together. It's going to be lovely. Seriously lovely. The differences will just evaporate. Trust me. You don't need to be scared anymore of anyone else. You don't need to be scared of yourself. Just follow me. Follow the clues. Follow the clues. In summary, I think it must be very easy to be pulled into a worldview that's full of like-minded people when your own worldview, the own view of your life, is not very easy to look at.
I don't want to assume what's going on in all these people's lives, from the Pythagorean cult followers to the QAnoners, but one thing I notice in my research is a lot of these people had something missing in their lives to start with. Trauma, missing family, a sadness from somewhere. Your son, daughter, mum, dad, aunt, uncle, cousin, the one that's been taken away, the one that's too far down that rabbit hole. They're still there inside. So how do you get them out? Deprogramming is a technique that seems just as severe as cult indoctrination itself. Cult members would often be kidnapped and held prisoner until they saw the light. Deprogramming consisted of, amongst other things, educating the cult member on thought reform techniques and helping them to recognise those methods in their own cult experience. Asking questions that encourage the cult member to think in a critical, independent way, helping them to recognise that type of thinking and praising them for it. Attempting to produce an emotional connection to their former life by introducing objects from their past, having family members share their memories of their pre-cult existence. But it's harder these days.
It was different then in that once you were away from the cult, you were away from their propaganda. That can't filter into your life bit by bit anymore. All you have is what they already put into your head. Not like today when you have access to all their paraphernalia, their people, their pamphlets, all their information. Their people can reach you at all times wherever you are, just on a device. I've been thinking about this a lot when researching this documentary, and I still don't really know how you get your loved ones or family out of one of these internet conspiracy theories. Sadly, because it's quite a recent phenomenon and still ongoing, I haven't found too many success stories. And the ones I have, usually just people that went down another rabbit hole of just factual and correct information. But that would be a rarity because algorithms, etc., are stopping people from finding the factual and correct information. Like I say, I think that person that you love still in there somewhere. Maybe just talk to them, be yourself, remind them of times before the conspiracy caught their lives and caught their imagination. Don't try and argue, don't try and lecture, that barrier's up too high. At this point, you can't win.
Maybe they've got a point. What makes you so smart? How come you have the answers? Huh? Well, you don't. And I think I do. I think I do.
What's the one thing you use every day? Makes you sad, makes you happy, makes you angry? The leaders are generally unaccountable and exploitative too, to you and especially the workers. I know this is old hat and I really don't want to risk sounding like a boring self-help morning care routine video, but you know, social media and the vessel for it, our phones, our iPads, are the cults of today, are they not?
We are all indoctrinated and addicted to the dopamine we get from the likes, the shares and the anger, the cute cat videos, the sad dog videos. We hold these devices in our hands at almost all hours of the day as the bones and muscles of the neck and head realign themselves into ancient ancestral postures, our eyes squinting in the blue light of the 1 a.m. moon, saying to ourselves, half hour more and then I'll sleep. And when we do, it's broken. Our brain's still in action mode after the screen light and recent dopamine hit is keeping it buzzing. We wake and we look straight at our screen again. Yoga, recipes, all our friends during lockdown, all here on our screen. Everything that used to be tangible is now digital.
And when we're told it's time for a new device, the batteries start to die quicker, the apps won't work, the software becomes incompatible with the latest version. The handsets and the covers using the labour and the toil of underpaid and undercared for workers. The taxes that should be going back into our society and paying for the crumbling world around us. Caught in a loophole of tax havens, going round and round like a filthy pair of pants in a washing machine.
Under the bonnet of the internet lies the manifestation of hatred. A platform where people can be anonymous is dangerous. A platform that can show us everything we like
and dislike is dangerous. I'll probably even get some hatred from this video just mentioning politics or the cults that I've spoken about. That was probably a bit over the top, but then again, with me, what isn't? So maybe the real cult leaders, I think I'm about to go over the top again, are the ones that are out there trying to exploit your natural fragility. The fragility that is a byproduct of living in the modern world.
And that's social media in a nutshell. Those pictures of those people you wished you looked like. The life you wished you had. I asked you to come with me. Escape this world of chaos. Find that peace.
Today I'm talking to you about why you don't need to join a cult. Because you're great just the way you are. Yeah, you're really perfect. No bleeding. Well, you know, that's real life for you. Real life spot. So, I've got a 4-step routine for you. The Marcus Care program. Step 1, what I'm doing now. I walk 3 hours a day, every day, in the countryside. Beautiful views. Step 2 is the Marcus Care Protein Powder Smoothie Powder. Protein.
The modern day cult leaders may well be the YouTubers and the TikTokers, the influencers, exploiting you by saying how great a product is, but faking what the product actually does. Filtering their face and body beyond human recognition, and saying my new skincare or clothing line makes you look this good, makes you feel this good. Imagine feeling like I do. Imagine being this lucky. The self-help gurus, the TED talkers who rabbit on for 10, 20 minutes, and at the end you realise they've said nothing substantial. Those stupid videos of a hand drawing while someone explains how much they changed their life, became a multi-millionaire just using the 3 basic techniques that all billionaires do, and you know it always starts with wake up at 4 a.m. Not to lump in all the good people doing great work, because of course they are out there, but what separates them from the culty ones is they generally don't speak to the human condition. Like cults, they offer a one-size-fits-all guaranteed solution. You don't want to hear that this might not work for you, that life is hard and you have to work hard. Just jump on TikTok, pull a face, and be set for life. Just watch this advert, buy our product, and be set for life.
Yeah, these people aren't cult leaders, I'm exaggerating, but what I'm trying to do is answer my first point from way back in the beginning.
Are we just downplaying or glorifying a psychology that's actually incredibly dangerous? Or are we being too scared and cautious of something that's actually a natural human process?
At the end of the day, I've done it throughout this video. I've been trying to be clever, but all I've really done is prove my own point. I underestimated, glorified, and at times I took the piss. In fact, I've made the kind of video a dangerous cult leader would want me to make. Well, look after yourselves.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to rewind the tape before you take it back.